own opinion about your mother when you were old enough to understand," I reply, stroking her hair. "I didn't want you to grow up with hatred in your hearts." Arthur squeezes my hand. "But you lied to us all these years when you told us maybe she would come back." "I didn't lie, my love. There was always the possibility that she would mature and return for the right reasons. I held on to that hope for a long time." I look to where Valerie is sitting with her lawyer, talking in desperate whispers. "But when she called me a week ago, I knew immediately that she hadn't returned for you. She had returned for the money." Emily sits next to me. "What's going to happen now, Grandma?" "I don't know, my child, but I know we've told the truth, and that's all we can do." During the recess, I watch Valerie slowly approach us. Her lawyer tries to stop her, but she ignores him. She walks with hesitant steps, as if each foot was a mountain to climb. "Mom," she says with a broken voice, "can we talk privately?" She begins, and her voice trembles like when she was a child and had done something wrong. "I know I made terrible mistakes, but I've changed. I've really changed." "Have you changed, Valerie, or do you just need money?" My question is direct, but not cruel. After so many years, I've earned the right to brutal honesty. She lowers her gaze. "Both are true. Yes, I need the money, but I've also missed my children all these years." "You've missed them?" My voice rises slightly. "Valerie, you had 13 years to miss them. 13 years to call, to write, to send a postcard at Christmas. 13 years to ask how they were, if they needed anything, if they remembered you." "I was scared," she whispers. "I was scared they would hate me for abandoning them." "Then why now? Why, after 13 years of fear, do you suddenly have the courage to fight for them in court?" Valerie leans against the window, as if needing physical support to continue the conversation. "Because Javier told me that if I didn't try to get my children and their inheritance back, he would leave me. He told me he couldn't stay with a woman who had given away $50,000. The brutal honesty of her confession catches me off guard. For a moment, I see the scared girl she once was, caught between impossible decisions. "Then you haven't changed at all," I say with deep sadness. 13 years ago, you made a decision based on what a man demanded of you. Today you are here for the same reason. It's not that simple." Her voice rises, but she immediately looks around to make sure no one hears us. "Mom, you don't understand the pressure I've lived under. Javier has supported me all these years. Without him, I have nothing. I don't have a job. I don't have my own home. I don't have savings." "And what about your other child? The child you could raise because it was convenient for your relationship?" Valerie stumbles as if I had slapped her. "Paul is different. He was born within my marriage to Javier. He was part of our plans. Arthur, Emily, and Andrea were also your children. Valerie, they also deserved unconditional love." "But I couldn't give them that!" she explodes, tears streaming down her face. "I was a kid when I had them. I didn't know how to be a mother. Every time Arthur cried, I cried too. Every time Emily had nightmares, I had panic attacks. I couldn't handle them." For the first time in this conversation, I feel a pang of compassion for my daughter. "Then why didn't you ask me for help at that time? Why didn't you come to me and say, 'Mom, I can't do this alone'?" "Because I was afraid you'd judge me. I was afraid you'd think I was a bad mother." "Valerie," my voice softens, "I would have helped you. We would have found a way to raise them together, but you chose to run away. You chose to abandon them completely." "I know," she sobs. "I know, and I've lived with that guilt all these years. But Mom, now I can offer them something better. With the inheritance, I can give them a life I could never give them before." "With the inheritance, Valerie, are you listening to me? It's not about the money. It's about 13 years of absence. It's about you writing a renunciation of parental rights. It's about you forming another family and completely forgetting about them." Valerie straightens up, and for a moment, I see a flicker of the determination that characterized her when she was young. "Mom, legally, I'm still their biological mother. That paper I wrote wasn't notarized. It wasn't presented before a judge. Technically, it doesn't have full legal validity." And there it is. The true Valerie emerges again, calculating and manipulative. So, this was never about getting your children back. This is about winning a legal case to access the money. It's about both things, she insists. Mom, we can reach an agreement. I'll take the children, but you can visit them whenever you want. We can share the responsibility of raising them, and about the inheritance, we can divide it fairly. You've spent money on them all these years. It's fair that you receive compensation. Compensation. The word comes out of my mouth like poison. Valerie, do you think I raised your children expecting financial reward? Do you think I took them to the doctor when they had a fever because I expected someone to pay me for it? Do you think I stayed up all night when they had nightmares because I expected to receive money in return? Stop! Just stop! Valerie covers her ears like a child who doesn't want to hear the truth. I'm not going to stop, Valerie, because this is what you need to hear. I didn't raise those children as an investment. I raised them because I love them, because they are my blood, because when you abandoned them, someone had to love them unconditionally. Valerie lowers her hands and looks at me with an expression I hadn't seen in years. It's the same look she had as a teenager when she realized she had made a serious mistake. Mom, she says in a very small voice, what do I have to do for you to forgive me? The question catches me off guard. For years I had imagined this moment. I had thought about what I would tell her if she ever asked for forgiveness. But now that I'm here, the words don't come easily. Valerie, forgiveness isn't something you negotiate. It's not something you get in exchange for doing the right things now. Forgiveness is something you give because you choose to free yourself from resentment. So do you forgive me? I look at my daughter, this 39-year-old woman who still seeks her mother's approval, and I feel a complex mixture of love, disappointment, sadness, and hope. I forgive you for being a scared child who didn't know how to be a mother. I forgive you for making desperate decisions when you felt overwhelmed. I forgive you for running away when the responsibility became too heavy. Valerie smiles with hope, but I continue. But I cannot forgive you for coming back only when money is involved. I cannot forgive you for threatening me with jail to get what you want, and I cannot allow you to hurt those children again. The smile disappears from her face. So there's nothing I can do? Yes, there is something you can do, I reply firmly. You can go back to your life, work on your personal problems, and when you have truly matured and changed, when you can offer genuine love without expecting anything in return, then perhaps your children will decide for themselves if they want to meet you. And the inheritance? The inheritance belongs to them, Valerie, and I will make sure they receive it when they are ready to manage it responsibly. A court officer appears in the hallway. The recess is over. The judge is ready to continue. As we walk back to the courtroom, Valerie takes my arm gently. Mom, one last question. If I withdraw the lawsuit now, would you allow me to see the children occasionally for supervised visits? I stop and look directly into her eyes. That decision isn't up to me, Valerie. It's up to them. If they want to meet you, I will respect their decision, but I won't pressure them to do so. We enter the courtroom where the judge is waiting for us, and I know that the next few minutes will determine the future of my family. Judge Theodore Mason takes his place on the bench, and the courtroom fills again with palpable attention. Valerie and her lawyer, Mark Sullivan, return to their table, but I can tell something has changed in her posture. She is more slumped, smaller, as if the conversation in the hallway had drained all her fighting energy. Ladies and gentlemen, the judge begins in a solemn voice, I have had time to review all the documentation presented, and I must say that this case presents very disturbing elements that go beyond a simple custody dispute. He looks directly at Valerie. Mrs. Vance, after examining the renunciation of parental rights written in your own hand, the text messages where you threaten your mother, and the documented history of abandonment for 13 years, I have some very serious questions to ask you. Valerie stands up tremblingly, leaning on the table to maintain her balance. Do you confirm that you voluntarily wrote the renunciation of parental rights dated October 15, 2011? Your Honor, Attorney Mark Sullivan intervenes. My client was going through a severe mental health crisis at that time. She cannot be held responsible for decisions made under those circumstances. Attorney Sullivan, the judge replies in a severe tone, I have reviewed the medical reports you presented as evidence of your client's depression. The documents show that she was discharged from psychiatric treatment 2 months before writing that renunciation. According to medical records, her doctor certified that she was mentally stable and posed no danger to herself or others. Valerie stumbles, and her lawyer helps her sit down. Furthermore, the judge continues, I have checked public records and found that Mrs. Valerie Vance legally married Mr. Javier Dawson on December 20th, 2011, just 2 months after writing the renunciation of parental rights. Can you explain how someone mentally incapable of making decisions about their children could simultaneously make the legal decision to marry? The silence in the courtroom is absolute. I can hear my own heart pounding as I await my daughter's answer. Your Honor, Valerie says with a broken voice, I just wanted to start over. I thought it would be better for everyone. Better for everyone, or better for you? The judge's question is direct and sharp. Valerie breaks into tears and cannot answer. The judge continues, Mrs. Vance, I have also reviewed the school records of your son, Paul, born in 2012. The documents show that you have been a present and active mother in his education. You have attended parent meetings, school events, and maintained a stable home for him for 11 years. This demonstrates that you did have the capacity to be a mother, but you chose to exercise that capacity only with the child who was convenient for you. Every word from the judge falls like a hammer on the coffin of Valerie's hopes. I watch her collapse in her chair, completely defeated. But most concerning of all, the judge says, raising the printed text messages, are these explicit threats you made to your mother. Threatening with false accusations of kidnapping is not only morally reprehensible, but constitutes extortion, a serious felony. Attorney Mark Sullivan stands up desperately. Your Honor, I request a recess to consult with my client about the possibility of withdrawing the lawsuit. Attorney Sullivan, the judge replies firmly, in light of the evidence presented, especially the threats of extortion, I have a legal obligation to refer this case to the district attorney's office to evaluate whether criminal charges should be filed against your client. Valerie shouts from her seat, No, please! I just wanted my children back! Mrs. Vance, the judge says in a severe voice, you did not want your children back. You wanted to recover the inheritance money. The evidence is overwhelmingly clear on that. He turns to me. Mrs. Eleanor Vance, do you wish to file charges for extortion against your daughter? The question catches me off guard. For weeks I had imagined this moment, but I never thought I would have to decide whether to send my own daughter to jail. I look at Valerie, who watches me with pleading eyes. Then I look at my grandchildren, who await my answer with tense expressions. Finally, I look into my heart and find an answer that surprises even me. Your Honor, I do not wish to file criminal charges against my daughter. Valerie sighs with relief, but I continue. However, I do request a restraining order prohibiting her from contacting my grandchildren or me for a minimum period of 5 years, unless through a legal representative, and with the prior approval of this court. The judge nods. That seems like a reasonable request. Anything else, Mrs. Vance? Yes, Your Honor. I request that it be established in the public record that Mrs. Valerie Vance voluntarily relinquished all her parental rights over Arthur, Emily, and Andrea Vance on October 15, 2011, and that any future attempt to claim custody or rights over these minors be considered frivolous and without legal merit. Granted, the judge says, making notes in his documents. Valerie stands up, swaying. Mom, please don't do this. Don't take my children away from me forever. I turn to her, and for the first time in this entire hearing, my voice comes out soft but unwavering. Valerie, I'm not taking anything from you. You let them go 13 years ago. You wrote that renunciation. You chose to form another family and forget about them. I'm just protecting what you abandoned." "But they're my children," she sobs. "No," I reply firmly. "They are the children you had, but I am the one who raised them. I am the one who loves them unconditionally. I am the one who sacrificed my peace of mind, my health, and my money to give them a stable home." Arthur rises from his seat in the gallery. "Your Honor, may I say something?" The judge nods. "Please approach." My grandson walks to the stand with the dignity of an adult man, although I see in his eyes the pain of the child he once was. "Your Honor, I want it to be clear for the record that my sisters and I do not consider Valerie Vance our mother. She is the woman who gave us life, but our mother is Eleanor Vance, the woman who raised us, educated us, loved us, and never abandoned us." He turns to Valerie. "And I want you to know, Valerie, that if you ever truly change in the future, if you can ever offer genuine love without expecting anything in return, if you can ever prove that you have truly matured, then perhaps we will consider getting to know you as a person. But you will never be our mother. That title has been earned by Grandma Eleanor." Valerie sobs uncontrollably, but Arthur is not finished. "And about Uncle Arthur's inheritance, I want you to know that when we turn 21 and can freely dispose of that money, a portion will go to Grandma Eleanor because she deserves to be rewarded for all the sacrifices she made for us." Emily and Andrea rise from their seats and join their brother in front of the stand. "I also want to say something," Emily says with a clear voice. "Valerie, I don't hate you, but I don't know you either. To me, you're a stranger who shared some of her DNA with me. My real family is here with my Grandma Eleanor and my siblings." Andrea, the youngest, looks Valerie directly in the eyes. "And I want you to know that if you had come back for love, if you had come back because you really missed us, maybe we could have built something. But you came back for money, and that tells us everything we need to know about who you really are." The judge gently taps his gavel. "By hereby, this court rules the following. The permanent legal guardianship of Mrs. Eleanor Vance over minors. Emily Vance and Andrea Vance is confirmed. A 5-year restraining order is established against Mrs. Valerie Vance. The custody demand filed by Mrs. Valerie Vance is declared null and void, and she is prohibited from filing similar lawsuits in the future without substantial new evidence of a change in circumstances." Valerie collapses completely, held up only by her lawyer. "Mom," she whispers, "will you ever be able to completely forgive me?" I walk towards her slowly, feeling the weight of all these years on my shoulders. When I reach her side, I place my hand on her tear-streaked cheek. "Valerie, I forgave you a long time ago, but forgiveness doesn't mean I can allow you to hurt these children again. They have suffered enough." "What am I going to do now?" she asks in a lost little girl's voice. "You're going to go back home. You're going to take care of the child you have. You're going to work on yourself, on being a better person. And perhaps someday in the future, when you have truly changed, my grandchildren will decide for themselves if they want to meet you." "And if Javier leaves me because I didn't get the money?" I sigh deeply. "Then perhaps it's time you learn to stand on your own 2 feet, daughter. Perhaps it's time you stop basing your decisions on what men expect from you." The judge stands, indicating that the hearing is over. This court is closed.